The world of Thai bar girls has been shrouded in myths and misconceptions for decades, creating a narrative that often reduces complex human beings to simple stereotypes. These women, who work in the entertainment districts of Thailand's major cities, have become the subject of countless stories, assumptions, and generalizations that rarely capture the full picture of their lives, motivations, and experiences. Today, we're going to examine these myths with a critical eye, separating fact from fiction while exploring the deeper cultural and economic realities that shape their world. The entertainment districts of Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, and Chiang Mai pulse with neon lights and the sounds of music spilling from countless bars and clubs. Within these venues, thousands of women work as hostesses, entertainers, and companions, serving drinks, singing karaoke, dancing, and providing conversation to customers from around the world. Yet behind the glittering facade and tourist-friendly atmosphere lies a complex ecosystem of human relationships, economic necessity, cultural tradition, and individual dreams that defies easy categorization or judgment. Perhaps no stereotype is more pervasive than the idea that every Thai bar girl is simply a gold digger, motivated solely by financial gain and willing to deceive foreign men to achieve their monetary goals. This oversimplified view ignores the complex web of circumstances that lead women into this line of work, and the genuine relationships that can and do develop within this environment. The reality is far more nuanced than this black and white characterization suggests. Take Niran, a 28-year-old woman from a rural village in northeastern Thailand who began working in a Bangkok bar 3 years ago. Her story challenges the gold digger narrative in profound ways. She didn't enter this work because she was lazy or greedy, but because her father's medical bills were mounting and her family's rice farm was failing due to drought. The monthly income from her bar work, which includes entertaining customers, singing karaoke, and occasionally going on dates, allows her to send money home while also saving for her own future. She's currently enrolled in night school studying English and business administration, with dreams of opening her own small restaurant someday. Niran's typical day begins at 4 in the afternoon when she arrives at the bar to help with setup and preparation. She spends time choosing her outfit, applying makeup, and mentally preparing for the evening ahead. The work requires emotional labor that many people don't recognize or appreciate. She must be charming and engaging with customers regardless of her personal mood, listen to their problems and stories with apparent interest, and maintain a positive demeanor even when dealing with difficult or demanding clients. This emotional performance is exhausting and requires genuine skill, yet it's often dismissed as simply trying to extract money from naive foreigners. Her relationship with David, a 52-year-old Australian engineer, began as a customer relationship but evolved into something deeper over the course of 18 months. Their connection isn't based solely on financial transactions, though money certainly plays a role in their dynamic. David helps with her education costs and sends money to her family during emergencies, but their relationship also involves genuine emotional intimacy, shared experiences, exploring Thailand together, and long conversations about their different cultures and backgrounds. Neither party is naive about the practical elements of their arrangement, yet both have developed real feelings that extend beyond mere financial convenience. When David first met Niran, he was recently divorced and feeling lonely during a business trip to Bangkok. He wasn't looking for a serious relationship, but was drawn to her intelligence and warmth. Over multiple visits to Thailand, he began to understand her family situation and the pressures she faced. Rather than feeling exploited, he came to appreciate her honesty about her circumstances and her dedication to her family's welfare. Their relationship developed slowly, with both parties testing boundaries and building trust over time. This example illustrates how the gold digger myth fails to capture the complexity of these relationships. While financial considerations are often present, they exist alongside genuine human connections, mutual care, and shared experiences. The women involved aren't calculating predators, but individuals navigating difficult circumstances while seeking both financial stability and emotional fulfillment. Similarly, the foreign men aren't simply victims being exploited, but adults making conscious choices about relationships that offer them companionship, cultural exchange, and often a level of honesty about expectations that can be refreshing compared to more traditional dating scenarios. The financial dynamics in these relationships often reflect broader economic realities rather than personal greed or manipulation. Thailand's minimum wage in rural areas can be as low as 300 baht per day, roughly $9, while a single evening's work in a Bangkok bar might earn a woman 1,000 to 3,000 baht or more, depending on customer tips and whether she goes on dates. This dramatic income differential explains why intelligent, capable women might choose bar work despite its social stigma and personal challenges. The second major myth suggests that Thai bar girls are primarily focused on finding foreign husbands as their ultimate goal, viewing every customer as a potential ticket to a better life abroad. This stereotype assumes that these women see marriage to a foreigner as their primary path to success and happiness, reducing their interactions to calculated husband hunting expeditions. The reality reveals a much more diverse range of motivations and goals. Consider Ploy, a 31-year-old single mother who works in a Pattaya bar to support her 8-year-old daughter. While she's open to serious relationships, marriage to a foreigner isn't her primary objective. Her main focus is earning enough money to provide her daughter with a good education and ensuring they have financial security. She's had several long-term relationships with foreign customers, but she's also turned down marriage proposals because the men involved weren't willing to accept her daughter or wanted her to move to their home countries, which would separate her from her extended family and support network. Ploy's daily routine revolves around balancing her work schedule with her responsibilities as a mother. She drops her daughter at school each morning, spends afternoons helping with homework and household tasks, then prepares for her evening shift at the bar. Her daughter stays with Ploy's mother during work hours, creating a family support system that would be difficult to replicate abroad. This arrangement works for their current situation, but would be impossible if she moved to a foreign country with a husband. Her perspective challenges the husband hunting myth because it demonstrates how these women often prioritize their children's welfare and family connections over the theoretical benefits of foreign marriage. She's seen friends who married foreigners and moved abroad, and while some found happiness, others struggled with isolation, cultural differences, and the loss of their familiar support systems. For Ploy, the idea of leaving Thailand permanently feels like too great a sacrifice, even for the financial security that foreign marriage might provide. One of her friends, Melanie, did marry a German man and moved to Munich 5 years ago. While Melanie enjoys greater financial security and has learned to appreciate aspects of European life, she struggles with homesickness and cultural isolation. She misses Thai food, the warmth of Thai social interactions, and the ability to communicate in her native language without constantly translating her thoughts. Her marriage is stable and loving, but she often tells Ploy that the transition was much more difficult than she'd anticipated, and that she sometimes wonders if the trade-offs were worth it. Another woman, Siriporn, works in a Chiang Mai bar and has been in a committed relationship with her Thai boyfriend for 4 years. She enjoys the social aspects of her work and the financial independence it provides, but she has no interest in romantic relationships with her foreign customers. For her, the work is purely professional, and she maintains clear boundaries between her personal life and her job. She plans to use her savings to start a small clothing business with her boyfriend, and they hope to marry and have children within the next few years. Her story demonstrates that not all bar girls are seeking foreign relationships at all, let alone marriage. Siriporn's approach to her work is highly strategic and business-minded. She's excellent at reading customers and understanding what they want from their evening out, whether it's conversation, companionship, or simply someone to listen to their problems. She provides these services professionally while maintaining emotional distance, much like a skilled therapist or counselor might. Her ability to compartmentalize allows her to be successful at work while preserving her emotional energy for her personal relationship and future plans. These examples reveal that the husband hunting myth oversimplifies the diverse motivations and life plans of women working in this industry. While some may indeed be hoping to find foreign husbands, others are focused on supporting their families, building businesses, pursuing education, or maintaining relationships with Thai partners. The assumption that foreign marriage represents the ultimate goal for all these women ignores their individual circumstances, values, and priorities. The economic calculations involved in marriage decisions are also more complex than the myth suggests. While foreign husbands might offer greater financial security, they also often come with expectations and limitations that Thai women must consider carefully. Some foreign men expect their wives to abandon work entirely, which can create financial dependence that many women find uncomfortable. Others have specific ideas about how Thai wives should behave that may conflict with the women's own personalities and preferences. The third persistent myth revolves around trustworthiness, suggesting that Thai bar girls are inherently deceptive and unreliable, prone to lying about their backgrounds, having multiple foreign boyfriends simultaneously, or disappearing with money or gifts. This stereotype paints these women as fundamentally dishonest and manipulative, creating an atmosphere of suspicion that can poison potential relationships before they have a chance to develop authentically. The reality of trustworthiness in this context is complicated by the nature of the work environment and the cultural differences between Thai and Western approaches to relationships and communication. Many misunderstandings arise not from deliberate deception, but from different cultural norms, language barriers, and the complex dynamics inherent in relationships that begin in commercial settings. Thai culture places significant emphasis on maintaining harmony and avoiding direct confrontation, which can lead to communication styles that Western men interpret as evasive or dishonest. When a Thai woman says she'll call tomorrow but doesn't, she might be avoiding an uncomfortable conversation rather than deliberately deceiving her foreign friend. Understanding these cultural differences is crucial for building trust and avoiding misunderstandings. Maylee's experience illustrates this complexity. A 26-year-old woman from a small fishing village, she began working in a Phuket bar after her husband abandoned her and their 2 young children. When she met James, a British retiree, she was initially hesitant to share the full details of her personal situation, including the fact that she had children and was sending most of her earnings to her mother, who was caring for them. This wasn't because she intended to deceive James permanently, but because she'd learned from experience that many foreign men lost interest immediately upon learning about her children and family responsibilities. Maylee's previous experiences had taught her to be cautious about revealing personal information too quickly. She'd watched other women lose potential relationships the moment they mentioned having children or family obligations. This pattern created a defensive strategy where she would gradually reveal information as relationships developed, and she felt more confident that the men wouldn't immediately disappear upon learning about her real-life circumstances. Over time, as their relationship developed and James proved to be understanding and supportive, Maylee gradually shared more about her real life. James initially felt hurt that she hadn't been completely honest from the beginning, but he came to understand that her initial reticence was a protective mechanism rather than malicious deception. Their relationship ultimately grew stronger because they worked through these communication challenges together, with James learning to ask direct questions and Maylee learning to trust that honesty wouldn't automatically end their connection. The process of building trust required patience and understanding from both parties. James had to recognize that Maylee's caution came from self-protection rather than dishonesty, while Maylee had to learn that James was genuinely interested in her as a complete person, including her responsibilities and challenges. This mutual understanding became the foundation for a relationship based on authentic communication and realistic expectations. However, it would be naive to suggest that deception never occurs in this environment. The combination of financial pressures, language barriers, and the transient nature of many customer relationships can create situations where some women do engage in dishonest behavior. Some maintain multiple foreign boyfriends simultaneously, each believing they're in an exclusive relationship. Others may fabricate emergencies or family crises to request money. These behaviors, while not universal, do occur and contribute to the stereotypes about trustworthiness. The financial pressures that drive some deceptive behavior are often more intense than foreign men realize. A woman supporting elderly parents, young children, and perhaps siblings attending university faces enormous monthly expenses that can easily exceed her regular bar income. When faced with genuine emergencies or mounting debts, the temptation to seek financial help from multiple sources can be overwhelming, even for otherwise honest individuals. The key insight is that trustworthiness in this context cannot be judged by different standards than in any other relationship environment. People of all backgrounds and professions sometimes lie, cheat, or behave dishonestly, particularly when they feel desperate or cornered by circumstances. The difference is that when a Thai bar girl behaves dishonestly, it often reinforces existing stereotypes about her entire demographic, while similar behavior from someone in a different profession is viewed as an individual failing rather than a group characteristic. Building trust in these relationships requires the same elements as any other relationship: open communication, consistent behavior over time, and mutual respect. Foreign men who approach these relationships with automatic suspicion often create self-fulfilling prophecies, while those who maintain appropriate caution without prejudice are more likely to develop genuine connections based on mutual honesty. The fourth myth suggests that women who work as bar girls are somehow permanently marked by this experience. that they can never truly leave this lifestyle behind or be trusted in conventional relationships. The once a bar girl, always a bar girl mentality implies that this work fundamentally changes women in ways that make them unsuitable for traditional relationships or normal life, creating a permanent stigma that follows them regardless of their subsequent choices or behavior. This perspective ignores the reality that for most women, bar work is a temporary means to an end rather than a permanent identity or lifestyle choice. The vast majority of women in this industry view it as a job, not as a defining characteristic of who they are as people. They maintain hopes and plans for different futures, and many successfully transition to other careers, relationships, and life circumstances. The stigma attached to bar work creates additional challenges for women trying to transition to other occupations or relationships. Potential employers may discriminate against women with gaps in their employment history or references from entertainment venues. Traditional Thai men may refuse to consider relationships with women who have worked in bars, limiting their options for local partnerships. These social barriers can trap women in the industry longer than they might otherwise choose to remain. Wasana's journey exemplifies this transition. She worked in Bangkok bars for 5 years in her early 20s, using the income to support her younger siblings' education and help her parents pay off debts from failed business ventures. During this time, she learned English, saved money, and made connections that would later prove valuable in her career change. At 27, she met Robert, a Canadian businessman, and they developed a serious relationship over 2 years. When Robert was transferred to Hong Kong for work, Wasana made the decision to leave bar work and join him. The decision to leave wasn't easy for Wasana. Bar work had provided her with financial independence, social connections, and a sense of confidence that she worried about losing. She developed friendships with other women in the industry and regular customers who had become part of her extended social network. Leaving meant abandoning this familiar world for an uncertain future in a foreign country with different social norms and expectations. The transition wasn't without challenges. Wasana had to adapt to a different social environment, where her past work was viewed with suspicion by some of Robert's expatriate friends and colleagues. She also had to develop new skills and confidence for life outside the bar environment. However, her intelligence, adaptability, and determination served her well. She learned Cantonese, found work as a translator and cultural consultant for businesses operating between Thailand and Hong Kong, and eventually started her own small import-export company specializing in Thai handicrafts. 5 years later, Wasana and Robert married and had 2 children. Her past work experience became just one chapter in her life story, rather than a permanent defining characteristic. She maintained connections with some of her former colleagues and occasionally helped other women transition out of bar work by offering advice, job references, or business opportunities. Her success challenged the assumptions of those who believed her past made her unsuitable for conventional family life. Wasana's story demonstrates how the skills developed in bar work can actually be assets in other careers. Her ability to communicate across cultures, read people's needs and motivations, and maintain composure under pressure proved valuable in her business ventures. Her language skills and cultural knowledge became professional advantages rather than sources of shame. Most importantly, her experience taught her resilience and adaptability that served her well in navigating the challenges of international relocation and career change. However, the transition out of bar work isn't always smooth or successful. Some women do find it difficult to leave behind the financial independence, social environment, and lifestyle the bar work provided. Others struggle with the stigma attached to their past work, finding that potential employers, partners, or community members judge them harshly based on their previous occupation. These challenges are real and shouldn't be minimized, but they don't validate the myth that change is impossible. The once a bar girl, always a bar girl myth also fails to acknowledge the skills and qualities that women often develop through this work. Many become excellent communicators, skilled at reading people and situations, culturally adaptable, and financially savvy. They learn to navigate complex social dynamics, manage difficult personalities, and maintain composure under pressure. These skills can be valuable assets in many other careers and life situations, yet the stigma associated with how they were acquired often prevents others from recognizing their worth. The fifth and final major myth focuses on visa motivations, suggesting that Thai bar girls primarily seek relationships with foreign men as a means to obtain visas and legal residency in Western countries. This stereotype assumes that the ultimate goal is always immigration, with romantic relationships serving merely as a vehicle to achieve legal status abroad. While visa considerations do play a role in some relationships, this myth oversimplifies the complex motivations and desires that drive these connections. The visa myth often reflects the fears and insecurities of foreign men more than the actual motivations of Thai women. Many men worry that they're being used solely for their passport privileges, leading to suspicion and defensive behavior that can undermine potentially genuine relationships. This fear is sometimes justified, as some women do view foreign relationships primarily through the lens of immigration opportunities, but it's far from universal. The reality of visa and immigration processes is often much more complex and challenging than the myth suggests. Obtaining spouse visas for Western countries typically involves extensive documentation, financial requirements, interviews, and waiting periods that can last months or years. The process is expensive, stressful, and uncertain, with no guarantee of success even for legitimate marriages. Women motivated primarily by immigration goals would likely find more reliable and efficient paths to achieving their objectives. Kultida's story provides insight into how visa considerations interact with other motivations in complex ways. A 33-year-old woman from a middle-class Bangkok family, she began working in the entertainment industry after her small business failed during an economic downturn. She met Hans, a German engineer, and they developed a relationship over 18 months that included both romantic elements and practical considerations about their future together. When Hans suggested that Kultida visit Germany to see if she might like living there, she was genuinely interested, but also honest about her mixed motivations. She was attracted to Hans personally and enjoyed their relationship, but she was also curious about the opportunities that life in Europe might offer. She wasn't deceiving Hans about her interest in immigration possibilities, nor was she pretending that romance was her only motivation. Instead, she approached their relationship as many people do when considering international moves with partners, weighing both emotional and practical factors. During her 3-month visit to Germany, Kultida discovered that while she appreciated the country's opportunities and social systems, she missed Thailand more than she'd expected. The language barrier was more challenging than anticipated. The social isolation was difficult, and she found herself longing for Thai food, climate, and cultural familiarity. The pace of life felt rushed and impersonal compared to the relaxed social interactions she was accustomed to in Thailand. Even simple tasks like grocery shopping or using public transportation required constant mental effort and translation. When she returned to Thailand, she and Hans had honest conversations about their future that acknowledged both their feelings for each other and the practical realities of their situation. They ultimately decided to maintain their relationship, with Hans spending several months each year in Thailand and Kultida making occasional visits to Germany. This arrangement allowed them to be together without requiring her to permanently relocate or obtain German residency. Their solution challenged the visa myth by demonstrating that immigration isn't always the primary goal, even when it's a consideration. The visa myth also ignores the reality that obtaining visas and legal residency in Western countries through marriage is often more difficult, time-consuming, and uncertain than many people assume. The process typically involves extensive documentation, interviews, financial requirements, and waiting periods that can last years. Women who were primarily motivated by immigration goals would likely find more efficient and reliable paths to achieving their objectives than romantic relationships with foreign men. Furthermore, many Thai women who do immigrate through marriage discover that life abroad isn't the paradise they may have imagined. They often face social isolation, cultural adjustment challenges, language barriers, and sometimes discrimination. Some find themselves financially dependent on their husbands in ways that limit their freedom and autonomy. These realities mean that the supposed benefits of obtaining foreign visas through marriage are often mixed at best. Understanding the reality behind these myths requires examining the broader cultural and economic context that shapes the lives and choices of women working in Thailand's entertainment industry. The bar girl phenomenon doesn't exist in isolation, but is part of a complex web of social, economic, and cultural factors that influence how these relationships develop and function. Thailand's economic development has been uneven, with significant disparities between urban and rural areas and between different social classes. Many of the women working in bars come from rural backgrounds where agricultural work provides insufficient income to support families, particularly when faced with medical emergencies, educational expenses, or natural disasters that affect crop yields. The entertainment industry offers one of the few paths for women with limited formal education to earn significantly more than they could in traditional occupations. The drought conditions that have affected northeastern Thailand in recent years provide a stark example of how economic pressures drive women into entertainment work. When rice crops fail and families face mounting debts, young women often have few alternatives for generating the income needed to prevent foreclosure on family land or to pay for urgent medical care for elderly relatives. The choice between watching family members suffer or working in bars becomes a matter of survival rather than lifestyle preference. The cultural context is equally important. Thai society has complex attitudes towards sex work and entertainment industry employment that differ significantly from Western perspectives. While there's certainly stigma associated with bar work, there's also a pragmatic acceptance that economic necessity sometimes requires difficult choices. Families may disapprove of a daughter's work in bars, while simultaneously depending on the income she provides. This cultural complexity means that the women themselves often have nuanced relationships with their work that don't fit neatly into Western categories of empowerment or victimization. The concept of kringjai, a Thai cultural value emphasizing consideration for others and avoiding actions that might cause discomfort or embarrassment, influences how these women navigate their relationships with foreign customers. This cultural programming can make them appear more agreeable and accommodating than they might naturally be, leading to misunderstandings about their true feelings and intentions. The international dimension adds another layer of complexity. Thailand's position as a major tourist destination has created numerous opportunities for cross-cultural interactions, some of which develop into longer-term relationships. The country's reputation for hospitality, combined with cultural values that emphasize making guests feel welcome and comfortable, can create environments where genuine connections develop alongside commercial transactions. However, the power dynamics inherent in these cross-cultural relationships cannot be ignored. Significant disparities in economic resources, passport privileges, and social status create imbalances that affect how relationships develop and function. Foreign men often have advantages in terms of financial resources and global mobility that can make them attractive partners beyond personal compatibility. Similarly, Thai women may have cultural knowledge, language skills, and social connections that foreign men find valuable. These practical considerations don't negate the possibility of genuine emotional connections, but they do create complex dynamics that require careful navigation by both parties. The role of family obligations in Thai culture also shapes these relationships in ways that foreign men don't always understand or appreciate. The concept of filial duty is deeply ingrained, with adult children expected to support their parents and contribute to family welfare. This cultural value means that women's financial decisions, including how they use money from foreign boyfriends or husbands, are often influenced by family needs rather than personal desires. Foreign men who interpret financial support for families as evidence of being exploited may be misunderstanding cultural obligations that are considered normal and honorable in Thai society. Communication styles and relationship expectations also differ between cultures in ways that can create misunderstandings. Thai cultural values emphasize harmony, face-saving, and indirect communication, which can conflict with Western preferences for direct, explicit discussion of feelings and expectations. These differences can lead to situations where both parties feel frustrated or misunderstood, even when their intentions are positive. The temporary nature of many tourist relationships creates additional challenges. Men who visit Thailand for short periods may develop intense connections with women they meet, but the limited time frame makes it difficult to build the deep understanding necessary for successful long-term relationships. The artificial environment of vacation romance, where normal responsibilities and stresses are temporarily suspended, can create unrealistic expectations about how relationships will function in everyday life. Despite these challenges, many cross-cultural relationships that begin in bar environments do succeed and evolve into lasting partnerships. The keys to success often involve mutual respect, cultural sensitivity, realistic expectations, and genuine effort to understand each other's backgrounds and motivations. Couples who acknowledge the practical elements of their relationships while also nurturing emotional connections tend to have better outcomes than those who try to pretend that cultural and economic differences don't exist. The most successful relationships often involve foreign men who take time to learn about Thai culture, language, and social norms, while Thai women who are willing to communicate openly about their backgrounds, family situations, and expectations. Both parties need to be honest about their motivations and goals, while remaining open to how their feelings and plans might evolve over time. It's also important to recognize that not all relationships that begin in bar settings are destined to become long-term partnerships. And this doesn't necessarily represent failure or deception. Some connections are meant to be temporary, providing companionship, cultural exchange, and mutual enjoyment for limited periods. Problems arise when expectations aren't aligned, or when one party assumes permanence while the other views the relationship as temporary. The stigma surrounding bar girls and their relationships with foreign men often prevents honest discussion of these dynamics, forcing both parties to navigate complex situations without adequate social support or understanding. This stigma also contributes to the persistence of myths and stereotypes that make it harder for genuine relationships to develop and thrive. Moving forward, it's essential to approach this topic with nuance, empathy, and recognition of the individual humanity of all parties involved. Thai women working in bars are not a monolithic group defined solely by their occupation, but individuals with diverse backgrounds, motivations, dreams, and circumstances. Similarly, foreign men who develop relationships in these contexts are not uniformly naive victims or exploitative predators, but individuals seeking connection and companionship while navigating unfamiliar cultural terrain. The reality of Thai bar-girl relationships defies simple categorization or judgment. These connections exist within complex webs of cultural, economic, and personal factors that require careful consideration and understanding. By moving beyond myths and stereotypes toward more nuanced appreciation of these dynamics, we can better support all parties involved in making informed decisions about their relationships and futures. The most important insight is that behind every stereotype is a real person with individual hopes, fears, challenges, and dreams. Whether we're talking about Thai women working in entertainment or foreign men seeking companionship abroad, recognizing the fundamental humanity and complexity of each individual is essential for moving beyond prejudice toward genuine understanding and respect.